What is going on YouTube? Joe here with Culination Media and welcome back for another live Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire Wi-Fi battle against a subscriber/follower on Twitter. Today we're going up against Leo in an NU battle. We're bringing the same team as last time. You have to look in the bottom right hand corner at the second team there, or I guess it's the first team. The one that's on the top in the battle box because my party Pokemon are, LC, because I'm going to try to record one of those a little bit later on. But anyway, our NU team here, we have our Persian, of course, is going to be Silk Scarf with Fake Out, Return, Taunt, and U-Turn. Then we have our Quiver Dance Lilligant with Giga Drain. I think I have Hidden Power Rock on there. And then Sleep Powder. Then we have Angela making her return again. Expecting her to put in a lot of work. She was kind of just glue for the team because she's mixed defenses. She has a really good typing. Immunity to electric, and, water typing is just pretty good in NU. Just in general. And it looks like she's going to put in some work in this battle, looking at my opponent's team here. Then we have Choice Banded Sawk. It is Adamant, Max Attack, Max Speed, of course. Physically Defensive Childra, the Avalug with a Rocky Helmet. It's also going to be our Rapid Spinner. We might need to use that for Sticky Web shenanigans here if that Leavanny turns out to be Sticky Web Lead or something. And then last but not least, we have our Unburdened Drifblim. That is a Chesto Resto set with Calm Mind, Thunderbolt, and Shadow Ball. So that is going to round out the team. Looking at my opponent's team, I don't really know what to think of it. It looks somewhat underwhelming, but that also kind of scares me. I see the Prankster Illumise, or Illumise, however you want to say it. That's one of those Pokemon that no matter how I say it, like I change it every time and someone corrects me every time. So I just say it however I want, basically. A lot of female Pokemon too, I'm noticing. Lots of red in the gender department here. But yeah, I'm expecting maybe that is going to be some kind of like weather setter or something because he has a cast form. So he's got a Floatzel and a Minun. It's probably going to be rain. Maybe? I mean, the Leavanny is kind of throwing me off because it gets chlorophyll. So maybe he also has like Sunny Day or something. Dual weather or something along those lines. I don't really know. That Leavanny seems to be the only thing that would really benefit from the sun, though. I mean, I guess in cast form, too. So he is going to lead off with the Illumise. And I'm leading off with Persian because we can get off some damage with a Fake Out, and taunting it really doesn't do me any good because it has Prankster and will go first anyway. But a Fake Out plus a Return is going to do a lot of damage. I can hopefully do enough to where it's, going to be hard for him to come back in and set up weather multiple times. So, wow, that did so much because we get a critical hit. That is super unfortunate for my opponent here. Because now if he wants to set up any type of weather, he's going to have to sacrifice Linda. Linda? The Illumite? No. Linda is a Kecleon. That's the only time that name is ever allowed to be used. That's how that works. Okay, maybe I'll let someone else use it, but I always just think of Kecleon now. Speaking of Kecleon, I really need to bring Kecleon back. It needs to, show up on Battle Spot or something. But my opponent opts to go for the Roost, actually, instead of the Weather. And the Return is still going to be enough to take it out, so I'm guessing that was not a physically defensive Illumise. Now, that critical hit really mattered. I really do think that it did matter, because he was going to have to sacrifice his Illumise. But I also think that Roost was a little bit of a misplay. Well, not necessarily a misplay, but I think he just underestimated the power of Persian, thinking that he would be able to survive it there. And so now his Illumise goes down, and he does not have any hazards up, or not hazards, does not have any weather up. So that is quite bad for his team, especially that cast form if it doesn't have manual weather of some sort on its own. So I'm going to taunt this Delcatty because I don't know what it's going to go for. I know it can get Cosmic Power, so I don't want this to be some kind of strange defensive set where he's just going to set up all kinds of defensive boosts. I want to try to get as much damage off as possible before that, if that is the case. And if he wants to go for something like Toxic or T-Wave or something along those lines, I'm okay with that as well, because I'm going to taunt him. So yeah, that's why. Even if he wasn't taunted, though, I have Heal Bell on Lantern, so it would not be the end of the world. So he's actually going to go for the Fake Out, and that does a considerable chunk. That did a decent amount of damage. So I'm expecting this thing to be mostly offensive. Or fully offensive. I think I'm just going to U-turn here. I feel like that's my best play. I don't want to take a return here. I would really like to save this Persian because I don't know what the rest of his team looks like, and that fake out is very, very helpful when it comes to slowing down sweepers and things like that. So, I mean, just in general, it would be good for mining if it starts setting up like nasty plots or something. Fake out plus return would probably kill it, or even the Leafani. So we go for the U-turn, we get another critical hit because the Hax Gods are just not liking this man right now. Or I should say, Kitty Cat, Presley. It's a good name for a Delcatty. Alright, what do I want to go into? That is the question. What do I want to take a hit? I really only have one option here, and that is my Avalugg. I would love to go into Sock because I know this thing can't kill me in one hit, and then I can threaten it out. He really doesn't have much on his team that wants to take a choice banded anything from a Sock. So, that's so tempting. I'm also tempted to go into Drifblim predicting a normal type attack. But if he goes for like Toxic or something along those lines, I'm not going to like that. Because the taunt did not go through, obviously, because I was fake outed. So, I'm going to go into Avalugg here to be safe. He does show off the T-Wave. So, fake out and T-Wave. So, this is like an offensive support set, I'm guessing. As long as I have Avalugg, though, this thing isn't too much of a threat because every time it comes in, I can just switch Avalugg in to get extra damage via the Rocky Helmets. And this Delcatty has no way of breaking Avalugg. So I'm actually going to switch out again here because I don't know that staying out with Avalugg is going to do me a whole lot of good. And he's most likely going to switch knowing that there's really nothing he can do to this Avalugg. I don't think he's going to want to stay in. Because what would he have? Like, he'd have to go for, like, return or something. And I don't think he wants to do that. And actually, having this thing paralyzed is pretty helpful for me, because Avalugg is already super slow, doesn't care about that speed drop at all. Being fully paralyzed kind of stinks, but it also means that I cannot be burned or toxic or anything like that. So, that is pretty helpful. Okay, so it looks like he is going to withdraw here, and we'll see what he goes into. It is going to be Casper, which is undoubtedly the cast form because cast form looks just like Casper. So this is good for us because we're going to pull the double at the same time and get our Angler out here for free. I don't think that this cast form can do a whole lot to me. Usually its coverage is something along the lines of Weather Ball, but there's no weather at the moment, like Blizzard or Ice Beam or Thunder, depending on, you know, what weather it's decent in. Maybe if he was, like, preparing for Sun, he'd have Solar Beam, something along those lines. Regardless, I'm not really afraid of any of those. If he does set up a sunny day here, then I might want to switch in anticipation of a potential Solar Beam. I don't really know. But, yeah, we should be able to wear this thing down. So, him losing that Illumise earlier on was really huge for his team, because it really didn't get to do anything that he wanted it to. And I'm sure he's kicking himself over that Roost play too, because that changed things almost as much as the critical hit did. So he's actually going to go for the Weather Ball because it is stab, but it really does not do too much. That tells me that the rest of his coverage moves really cannot do much to Lantern at all. So that's helpful to know here. But we're going to Volt Switch out, and we get a decent chunk off on this thing. I'm thinking that a Fake Out plus a Return will kill this cast form. I'm a little bit afraid of it potentially being like Scarfed or something because, yeah, my opponent, I battled him quite a few times before and he always brings some kooky stuff. So I would not be surprised to see like Choice Scarf cast form, which would be pretty awesome. But let's see. Let's see, what do I want to go out into? If I want to predict that he is choiced in some fashion, I could go out into Drifblim because he's locked into Weather Ball and I get a free Calm Mind or something. I can also go out into my Lilligant because this is a relatively safe setup for me, because even if he opts to stay in and just continually go for the Weather Ball, I'm fine with that. That's not going to kill me. I can Quiver Dance up, and then I can Giga Drain him and get a lot of that HP back. So, I think that's what I want to do here. He may want to switch right into his Leavanny, but if that's the case, I'm going to get a +1 Hidden Power Rock off on it. If only I was Hidden Power like Flying or Fire, then Leavanny would not be an issue at all, but at +1, I don't know if a Hidden Power Rock unstab is going to be enough to take it out. Really not sure. Because Leavanny is not super frail. Even though it's used as a suicide lead a lot of times for sticky web shenanigans, it really isn't as frail as it's made out to be. But especially down in NU, it can kind of hold its own. So he is going to go for the Weather Ball here, and it does look like he is Scarfed. I'm pretty sure, because I believe that Lilligant naturally outspeeds a cast form. But we're going to get the Quiver Dance up here. That Weather Ball didn't do too much, and that's definitely within the range where if we go for Giga Drain and kill something here, we'll get all that HP back, and it won't be that big of a deal. Now, I could go for Sleep Powder and try to quiver up a little bit more just in case that Leavanny is going to come in, but I really don't want to get greedy right here and have something silly happen, like a critical hit. So I feel like playing safe and getting as much damage as possible off on something is the way to go. So I'm leaning towards going for Giga Drain here for that reason. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. And he actually leaves his cast form in, I'm guessing because without his Illumise for the weather, you know, cast form is probably one of the least useful members on his team. So that's just going to go down to the Giga Drain. We do take that Life Orb Recoil, of course, but we're able to get back almost all of our HP, which is fantastic. And we will see what he goes into next. I'm expecting it to be the Leavanny. I don't know why I'm doing that. Or the Delcatty. I'm making strange noises. Yeah, this is the first video I'm recording today, and I'm barely awake, so there you go. You know what? I didn't have coffee, so I don't know how I'm actually making any sense right now, but I'm doing what I can. Doing what I can indeed. So he is going to go out into Presley, which is in fact the Delcatty, so I'm expecting a fake out here. The question is, do I want to go right into my Avalugg for that, or do I want to stay in and continue to pressure his team at +1? The answer is, I think I want to stay in and continue to pressure his team. So I'm going to let him fake out me here. That'll probably take me down to about 60% of my max HP, if I had to guess. Depending, of course. We'll see. We will see. Now, he could try to predict me to do something silly, but no, he is just going to go for the fake out. And yeah, that brings us down to just over half of our max HP, which I'm fine with. And now I can just go for Giga Drain again. Now, you know what? I should have clicked Hidden Power Rock because he's going to switch in his Leavanny here. He pretty much has to. I really don't have any reason to want to predict here. But Hidden Power Rock at +1 probably... I don't know if it would have killed this Delcatty, though. That's the thing. Yeah, I don't know. I have a gut feeling that he's going to go into that right now. But, you know, when you're at this point in the game, I feel like it's better if you play a little bit on the safer side. There's no reason for me to go out on a limb predicting things at this point. So I'm not even going to worry about it. And so it looks like he is going to pull the switch into Leia, or however you want to pronounce it, the Leavanny, and he's going to take this Giga Drain very, very nicely because it is a 4x resisted move. I so badly wanted to click Hidden Power Rock right there, but there's really not much I can do about it now. Now the question is he going to stay in here, or is he going to want to try to pull another switch? I don't really know what he would switch in that wouldn't get to it KO'd. Even that Delcatty, I mean, a Hidden Power Rock, it's probably not going to kill it from there, so he will be able to get another fake out off on me, and then he could just sack something else, and then finish me off that way. Well, not necessarily, because I would be getting HP back via Giga Drain. Anyway, regardless, my play is to go for the Hidden Power Rock here. He might think that he is sacrificing his Leavanny because he might think that I have Hidden Power Flying, which is relatively common, and Hidden Power Fire as well, pretty common. So we'll see. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he'll have like 0 IVs in his special defense and he'll just go down to this. But it's not looking like that's going to be the case, as Leavanny actually takes that somewhat well for being at +1. And so we're going to go down to an X-Scissor here. Poor Gardenia, but she did do her job. She, you know, pressured our opponent's team a little bit. Got a lot of damage off of this Leavanny, so I really can't complain. Especially because now this Leavanny is within range of a Fake Out. And that's really the way to go here. Now, I could even go for Return, just in case he does want to switch. I don't think he's going to want to do that. But, I mean, I guess there's the chance that this thing is like Scarfed or something. Scarfed X-Scissor, because we didn't see Life Orb recoil or anything. But yeah, I'm just going to go for Return. He had the Scarf cast for him. I think it was Scarfed. Anyway, I'm just going to click Return here, and something's going to take a decent chunk. So he might try to save this. I just don't know what on my team he would want to save this Leavanny for specifically, other than the Lilligant. And he was probably thinking he was just sacrificing it anyway because, you know, Hidden Power Fire is probably the most common Hidden Power you'd see on Lilligant. But, yeah, so he is going to leave his Leavanny in, and that's going to go down to this Return here, so that is good news for us. And I'm expecting possibly the Delcatty to come out here to continue to pressure my team with a Fake Out a little bit. If he does do that, I will go straight into Avalugg and try to get off some, you know, Rocky Helmet damage and pretty much just wall that Delcatty because I'm already paralyzed too. So it's like that Delcatty really can't do anything to me. We still haven't seen its other move though. That's the other thing. We are missing a move on that Delcatty. Yes, 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 yes. So what are you going to go into, my friend? What do you think can take on the power that is Silk Scarf Persian? I have another Persian that is a nasty plot, and I really wanted to bring it in this battle, but I opted to go for this one because the team really needed some priority quite badly, and I already had a setup sweeper in the Quiverdance Lilligant, so I don't like bringing a team full of things that just set up and try to sweep all the time, because I feel like that's just not fun after a certain point. So anyway, he's going to bring in his Floatzel here, and this thing is... I'm not sure what this is. I could go into Avalugg if I'm going to predict him to be physical, but sometimes they are mixed or completely special. I would not put it past my opponent to have this be a Specs Floatzel, and for that reason, I'm going to make a somewhat of a middle play and go into Angela the Lantern, because at least I resist the two common moves that this thing might go for, and that would be a water type move of some kind and an ice type move, whether that be Waterfall or Hydro Pump or, you know, Ice Punch or Ice Beam. That is what I'm expecting here. I mean, in all likelihood, it's probably going to be Waterfall, as it is, so I'm expecting this to be banded here unless we see the Life Orb recoil. And that looks like banded damage to me. Looks like banded damage. Now, I could protect here to get a little bit more lefties recovery before switching out, although it's very possible that my opponent will switch out, not wanting to take any type of electric type move, because he knows that he has nothing that's going to kill me from there. If that's the case, I am just going to get a free turn of lefties, and I can protect the following turn if I really wanted to. Yeah, I'm not going to even worry about going for Volt Switch. I don't want to take that extra waterfall damage if he does opt to stay in. Because there's just really no reason for that. I'm playing relatively safe in this battle, and I feel like that's just the strength of my team in this particular situation. There are other situations where I feel like you need to play a little bit more recklessly. Usually that's when you have an offensive team. If you're playing hyper offense, you have to be able to get the predictions correctly. You have to play a little bit on edge because, you know, most of the time you don't have switch-ins to things. When you're playing balance or defensive playstyle or, you know, even, God forbid, stall, yeah, you can play a little bit safer. So he's actually going to make the switch into Thunder Buddy, which is a pretty cool nickname for a Minun. I'm guessing this is going to be Nasty Plot. This could also have Encore. Encore Nasty Plot is kind of scary. I run something similar on my Raichu, or one of my Raichus. I have a bunch of Raichus. But this thing also gets Volt Absorb as its Gym World ability, I'm pretty sure. So I don't think I want to try to Volt Switch on this. I don't know what he has to hit me with, though. Like HP Grass, maybe? Or Grass Knot? Did these things get Grass Knot? Not really sure. Lantern isn't super heavy, though, so I don't think it would be doing that much damage. But regardless, I can... You know, I can actually scald him here. Yeah, I'm going to scald him. As he does show off the Grass Knot, we'll see how much this does. And that does an okay chunk. That's kind of bad for Life Orb damage and a super effective hit, just because Lantern is not super duper heavy. But we get off about the same amount of damage with Scald, but we also draw the burn. So that is looking good for us, because I think burn plus Life Orb plus another Scald will take this out from there. Now, of course, I could protect to get a little bit more Lefty's recovery and rack up the burn damage. That doesn't really do me any good, because the following turn I will still have to do something, and I don't really want to switch anything in on this. Lantern would be my switch, so I'm just going to stay in and Scald here. And if he does stay in to hit me with another Grass Knot, I should take that, provided he does not score a critical hit, of course, and then we can finish him off with the burn damage. I'm expecting it to be the burn damage. Unless we get like a really high roll Scald or something. We'll have to see. Life Orb. He still could be Nasty Plot. He just may not have wanted to set it up right there. As he is going to hit me with another Grass Knot that brings us down to 59 HP. And we're going to hit him with a Scald. And Thunder Buddy does take that, just barely. Just barely. I think that was about the same roll as we got last time too. So that's fair enough. The burn is helping us out there a bit. And Thunder Buddy is going to go down. Of course, I mean, if we didn't get the burn the first turn, there's also the chance that we could have gotten it the second turn, and if I did do that, I probably would have protected the following turn if he survived, which he most likely would have. So, yeah, I don't know what to say there. That's just how that went. That Minun was not going to be doing too much with the Lantern still alive. He needed to attempt to eliminate that earlier on. And in fact, it might actually be carrying Thunder, because that Illumise might have had the Rain Dance. So he's going to go back out into Presley, the Delcatty, who again is going to, I'm assuming, try to pressure my team with Fake Out or something. So I'm going to go straight for the Protect here. I really have nothing to lose by that. So we're still trying to figure out what that last move is. I know it's got Thunder Wave and Fake Out, and then it's got to have some other normal type move. I don't think it showed it. It's probably Return, and then some other move. I don't know. Sucker Punch, maybe? I think Delcatty gets Sucker Punch. I'm not really sure is basically what I'm trying to say. But either way, I'm going to try to avoid the Fake Out here and go for the Protect, as the Delcatty actually shows off the Retaliate. Retaliate Delcatty, not even bad. So we avoided a bullet there. I thought about potentially going out into Avalugg. That probably would have, I cannot talk. It probably would have done a decent chunk. I don't know. I mean, it is an Avalugg, but you know, it's basically like a last resort, because it's base 140, I think, after something goes down. So we're going to go for the Volt Switch here. We survive with 10 HP, get a little bit of extra damage off on this Delcatty, and now we can go into Persian again, really. There's really nothing stopping me from going back into Persian and putting more pressure on my opponent's team here. He's only got one other Pokemon, so let's see. I could just go into Avalugg too. Actually, I could go into Drifblim, because this would be a decent time to set up a Calm Mind. There's no way that a Sucker Punch from a Delcatty will kill me anyway, and if he does Thunder Wave me, I can just rest that off and get my Unburden boost going, so that I'm outspeeding everything. So that looks like a plan here. I'm going to go for the Calm Mind. We'll see if he'll go for the Sucker Punch, or if he switches, we might have to change our tactic a little bit. I don't know. We're still very much so at an advantage here. I don't want to, you know, toss away the game because I'm playing badly, which I have done before. It happens to everybody at one point or the other. You have a big lead and you just kind of screw it up, and it's not even because of hacks. You know, you just make the wrong play. It happens sometimes. You're not going to be perfect, regardless of how much experience you have. You just have to be aware that sometimes, you know what, you're going to do things like expect you to get a burn when you have Sheer Force or something like that. Yeah, I do that a lot. I never learn from that mistake. Let's see. Let's see. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna go for the Sucker Punch? I hope you do. If he goes for Sucker Punch here, I think that's pretty much game over, but he's not going to make that play. He is going to switch out here into his Turbo Tails, his last remaining Pokemon, what I'm expecting to be the Choice Banded Floatzel. Now, this does outspeed me, and it gets Ice Punch and Crunch, so I'm expecting him to probably go for Crunch. I think that might be the best move as far as neutral coverage on the rest of my team to lock himself into. Well, no, I have Sock, but Crunch will at least do a little bit of damage to Avalugg, so I guess he doesn't really have anything that would be perfect neutral coverage there that will still take out Drifblim, because Waterfall is not going to be an Oko, and he can't really afford me to be able to attack him, because he would know that at least a Shadow Ball will be coming his way, if not a Thunderbolt. And Thunderbolt at +1 will most likely kill a Floatzel, because Floatzel is pretty darn frail, I have to say. I have to bring back Floatzel. I have to use a Specs Floatzel. I love Specs Floatzel. It gets switcheroo too, so you can cripple walls, and it's just a good time. So we're going into Childra, and he is indeed going to pull out the Crunch here. I'm not expecting this to do too much because it's a non-stab move. Yeah, that only did about 30 HP. Wow. Is that really banded? Maybe it's scarfed. Because if that's just ridiculous. Granted, I am completely physically defensive, and Avalugg has base, ridiculous amount of base defense. So, I don't know. 30 HP though, that's craziness. So I'm going to go for Earthquake here because it does hit both of his remaining Pokemon neutrally. There's no reason for me to go for anything else. He doesn't have hazards up on the field, so there's no reason to go for Rapid Spin. I barely lost any HP, too, so Recover seems kind of silly. And he is going to make the switch into his Delcatty, and we are going to fire off an EQ, which should take this out. Yes, it does. So no more fake out pressure, which is great. That was a really cool Delcatty set, by the way, my friend, with the Retaliate and everything. That's pretty awesome. I have to get to breeding my own Delcatty. I don't know how I would run it, but should do some experimenting, because Delcatty is a pretty cool Pokemon. You never see it used. But Floatzel is here, and he's probably going to lock himself into Waterfall now just because it is his most powerful move, and probably his best option to hit this Avalugg as well. So we're going to have some Paraflinch action going on because I am still paralyzed from that T-Wave from the Delcatty earlier, and unfortunately we're going to get paralyzed this turn, and we're unable to move. Now, we are weakening this Floatzel every turn, even if we do get paralyzed, just because of the Rocky Helmet. So it's looking like there's no possible way for him to win here, because even if he does take out Avalugg, he's not going to be able to avoid the fake out afterwards from Persian. So he's going to be weakened at that point, as we do actually flinch, so it's looking like he might be able to break through Avalugg here just because of the Paraflinch. And I don't think he's doing that to purposely Paraflinch me. I think he's doing that because that's his strongest move to lock himself into, to give him some sort of hope to potentially win, from a critical hit or I don't know what. But you gotta do what you gotta do. So thankfully we finally break through the last possible turn there, and we're gonna take him out with an Earthquake. So Floatzel goes down, and that is going to be the match. It turns out to be a 5.5-ish in our favor. That was really fun, of course, so thank you for the match as always, Leo. If you see him down in the comment section below, of course, make sure you give him a GG for me. And I'm looking forward to using this team one more time, and I'm hoping that we can get like Drifblim or somebody to put in some work, somebody that hasn't seen a lot of screen time. Angla hasn't seen a lot of screen time either, so maybe Lantern can do something. I don't know. But anyway, that's going to be it for this time, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure you're leaving a like rating or a comment or whatever you would like to do, and I will see you all next time. But until then, game on.